I'll come back stronger.
Hello everybody and welcome to today's event. We have ourselves here the OCEL competition. I am your host Reinhardt and I'm joined by my fellow duo host Adjacent World. Adjacent World, say hi to everybody.
Hello everyone, glad to be here casting for the OCEL. I'm very much looking forward to this event today.
I am as well, and today we have a very interesting matchup. We have two teams, both from Monash University. On the left-hand side, I think it's the left-hand side, we have Peking Duck, and on the right-hand side, their opponents, we have December. Coming up here into the starting bands, we have quite an interesting band picks at the moment. Like we've got the typical Yasuo and LeBlanc from Peking Duck, and then on the right-hand side, we've got Aurelian Soul as well as Gangplank. Now, I could definitely say firsthand.
Solid carries here.
Yeah, like I was actually about to say that. Like they're really good at being a solo-based champion, like being able to solo push a lane, and you know, just some of those extras that give your team a little bit more comfortability when a little bit under pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been very little synergistic bans coming out here as well, which has sort of been a bit of the sort of meta shape at the moment. There's been a lot of combinations that work very well together.
Lame.
I have to agree. Like, it's just really weird. Like, when you say meta, it's really interesting how things have actually changed quite a lot. Like, we went through a small period where we had champions like Yasuo, Vladimir, Swain, and Heimerdinger as of late, all in the AD carry role. And now things are beginning to sort of rebalance itself. Like the scale is beginning to rebalance itself out a little bit there, and we're beginning to see the more historical and typical base picks. And just coming in for the first pick, I have to make a special mention. We have a Braum pick. And I'm very interested in seeing Braum because he has been picked up a little bit more as of late. He is very powerful as like a team-based champion, especially against skill shot-based abilities. Unlike Malzahar and something like a Kayle, he is very viable. But when you're coming up against, you know, when you come up against other champions, like, you know, Caitlyn, Varus, and stuff like that, where their abilities are essentially, you can see the animation as it flies through the air. It's just like, that is what makes Braum the perfect counter, essentially, to them.
Yeah, speaking of animations flying through the air, we've got a Zillion pick coming out on the other side, on the red side. That is, I want to say it's the support pick, but I've seen some things. It could easily be a sort of a viable mid lane pick, depending on the jungle matchup.
Yeah, like obviously we can see that UNE has gone with the, I guess I could say, very common pick as Gragas. Like in team-based events, Gragas is a very viable champion to be seen on the Rift, especially in the, how should I put this, in the pro scene. Like you see him picked quite a lot over the years, and I like that we're seeing some more very powerful picks at the moment. Like we've got Aatrox happening over here, possibly for Framer, and then we've also got Draven as the ADC for Rain.
Yeah, I'd honestly be surprised if Gragas wasn't picked at this rate. I think it's been picked in almost every single game in the Gauntlet run so far. Currently happening with the OPL.
It's just amazing, like what you see. Like I hope to see some new champions brought into the mix as typical picks. Like, you know, obviously we just saw the Ornn get banned out here from December, so obviously they don't want to go with something a little bit on the tanky / engagey side. I mean, when he pops in that ulti and that ram comes charging in from behind enemy lines, it's like everyone just scatters more likely than not.
Yeah, I'm a bit more tempted towards that Zillion mid lane, as they've sort of opted in for the Draven on the blue side, and as I imagine that would be a rather difficult matchup for Team December.
Yeah, just
on side.
Making that mention, Draven, I assume that would be a Kaisam ADC. That's just going to be problematic on its own. And just as a little bit questioning and eyebrow raising, they've already started panning out some counter picks, or should I say, Peking Duck have actually, you know, banned out some champions that could be problematic, like the Trundle and the Zac. Those are very interesting champions to be banned out. Like Trundle has fallen off a little bit as of late. I haven't seen him much anywhere, you know, on the Rift as of late. Hello, I have to pause here. We have a Cassiopeia. Now, this is a champion that is a little bit unconventional. And coming into their team comp, it looks like this is going to be a very interesting game for December.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. And you can actually see, at least for the red side, that the last two bans that they had, they implemented towards making sure Aatrox has probably, this easiest laning phase that he can possibly have to be that potential threat to perhaps combat, for example, the Draven, who might have an easier time up against the Kai'Sa, which is then going to get countered by the Fiora, a very fair and fun champion. Which, speaking of fair and fun champions, we're seeing the Zoe hover pick right now.
Well, coming in at 8 seconds, the champion is still being hovered. They're still deciding what they want for their mid laner. But going up against Cassiopeia, that could be quite a fun time. Yes, it is locked in. We have ourselves Frogger Arms as our Zoe. And we've got coming up against, I think, I'll just call him AZN with the Cassiopeia pick. So these things could begin to lighten up a little bit. Like, personally, going up against the Zoe as Cassiopeia, you're going to have a little bit more of a comfortable time because your poison has a very quick animation time. Like, it's very short. The only way Zoe would be able to get out of something like that would either be to ulti or to flash out, really. Like, she's going to have a very problematic time, versing a Cassiopeia if she's not careful. Like, Cassiopeia can be really problematic if she gets herself, and I guess you can say a premeditated state. She throws out everything she has in her kit, and it all lands perfectly. Like, if she misses something, that's when she's going to have problems.
Yeah, no, and speaking of problematic, this bot lane duo is looking very nice for the side of Peking Duck, with the Draven Braum going into the Kai'Sa Zillion. They're going to need a lot of attention from the Shaco if they want to even hope of coming out. If they ever want to come out ahead on the side of December. Because the Aatrox, I believe, into the Fiora is definitely not going to have a fun time, especially since we can see Higher Than Most is opting for the Ignite pick.
I can understand the Ignite because it limits. It's got like two functions. It's got like a damage over time, as well as the grievous wounds portion of it. But I guess we can really just sort of not really need to talk about it anymore since the last second Fiora decided to change over to teleport. So it looks like both top laners are planning to go a little bit more on the presence side of the map. So, being able to get anywhere, or should I say, get into like a team fight based situation very quickly. As soon as they pop that teleport, boom, they've, the initiation has begun. Or even if they decide to just scare the enemy, just plop the teleport and then cancel last second, keep themselves in lane, but as well try and psych out the enemy from being able to do anything. It's always an interesting time when you manage to catch the enemy off guard a little bit.
Yeah, we've got 2 minutes during the spectator day, so let's just run through the matchups and talk about what we think about them. So let's start with the top lane, the Fiora into the Aatrox. I feel like Fiora wins that matchup purely because the Aatrox is going to look to land his Qs, right? He's going to look to land it on those sweet spots, but that's a knock-up. So if Fiora times a W correctly, that's basically a guaranteed stun, which she can then use to follow up and harass the Aatrox for free.
Personally, just going up against an Aatrox as Fiora, being a very powerful duelist-based champion and her passive having a lot of like maximum health damage potential with a little bit of healing on top of, Aatrox could be like, in a spot of bother if he doesn't plan his knockups right, or his knockups. I believe his Q has like two knockups and then a slow, isn't it?
No, it's 3 knockups. There is
completely knockups.
Yes, I thought there are 3 indicated zones for Aatrox's Q abilities, and if he lands those, anyone in those areas get knocked up. And
as well as they take like extra damage from it as well.
Yes.
Like that is pretty much like, a Riven basic attack with the passive, but he doesn't need to proc, the passive and basic attack anymore. He just procs the abilities, gets it in the zone, and bam, there goes a chunk of your health, and you're beginning to get a little bit scared as to what to do
he's
against
going to be wanting to proc those.
Well,
he's going to be wanting to hit them, and and Higher Than Most is going to want to deny that. And a fun, interesting fact is Fiora's W will counteract Aatrox's W, which is the return to the center of the zone sort of effect.
Yeah, and if he gets ulted from her, he has 4 vital zones that she needs to hit, and if he connects in that chain with her, she's going to have a little bit of distress because she's going to be limited with her ability to be able to move around. Like, her Q can dash her from place to place, but there's only a certain amount of range that she can cover with it. Coming to the last, I'd say 5 seconds delay roughly. We'll go to a quick little music break while we get ourselves sorted and ready for game number 1 between Peking Duck on the left and December on the right. And just to recap, both of these teams are from Monash University, so it looks like it's
Minions have spawned.
Yep, we're at 20 seconds.
all right. Cool. We apologize for that slight little delay. Just all of us being in different time zones and whatnot. We need to make sure we have a sync up. But we are down here and underway with game number 1. Asian,
Very early engage happening right now. As Van's taking a lot of damage, needs to run back to the backline. Then we've got Farmer as well getting taken down straight away by the Draven with the Conqueror, and he's got a lot of bombs and an Ignite taking on him. He's going to have to run away as well. But John Killer is getting taken down by the Fiora with the help of the Braum stun. That is a lot of chaos happening very early.
Absolutely, like that was just so much action within like not even a minute, and the first kill goes out straight onto Draven, so he's gonna have a little bit more comfortable time, you know, in the early stages of this game. I'm really curious to see how this Draven's going to play, since that was a very, very powerful premeditated team fight that they had themselves prepared for.
Yeah, no, Conqueror Draven with first blood, can't be mad, can't be mad.
I like the complete description about that over there. Can't be mad, can't be mad. It's like a meme or something like that for a second there, but just within that first minute, that just amazing 5-man invade over to the bottom half of the map, just outside of the blue, just before Shaco's blue zone right there. It was just absolutely amazing. And now we see both teams coming up to the reset point. So when I say a reset point, I mean like everyone went back to base, they cashed in what they had to try and get themselves a little bit ahead in the early stages of the game. Draven getting himself the extra longsword.
And we're going to have a slight pause here as it appears Higher Than Most is having some connection issues. Hopefully that gets solved as quickly as possible. So let's just take a moment to take a look at how the bot lane matchup is going to go now that Draven has a long sword as he arrives to lane.
Having that long sword is going to put him a little bit ahead, and since his Q already gives him a bit more of a basic attack damage boost, it's just going to make him even more destructive. But I need to mention as well that we've got a Zillion pick. And if Draven plans to always go for his axes and prioritize him, he can be in a bit of spot of bother because Zillion can just plant both bombs right on top of that single axe. And there you go, Draven's completely stunned in the mix. And it looks like we've come back from an unpause. So I feel I'm really worried about, our internet issues that we have here in Australia. Nearly every single game I have casted this season, it's not exactly been the most fun. There's always someone having a disconnection issue of some sort.
Oh yeah, it can be a real trifle at times. But just taking an interesting thing to note is the bot lane summoners are actually pretty much in sync with each other. Rain and Juhan Killer's flash and heals coming off cooldown at the exact same time, as well as Van's and Mog's ignite.
Seeing as that was used in the I should say the pre lane phase team fight, I wouldn't really be surprised. Like, you'd want to blow as much as you can to try and get those, that early lead, get that early CS, or should I say the early gold advantage. Because if you have one item ahead at this point in the game, it's almost like having an entire completed item in the later game. There. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, Draven has taken at least 3 grenades so far, right on top of himself. One of them was actually timed one on top of each other. So he took the initial burst, the pre-ignition, as well as the stun. And now, look at that. He's taken another grenade.
Yeah, no, he needs to be a bit more on top of that. Higher Than Most getting slightly pulled back in as Farmer's trying to land some harass down.
Well, I fear a little bit at the moment. He is behind by 7 CS, but having that kill does put him a little bit, does sort of close the gap in the gold accumulation. Like, I know gold accumulation doesn't mean too much at the moment, but, if getting that CS advantage, if you can keep up with your counterpart, as well as have that, those extra stats on top of, you have something to stay back a little bit.
Yeah, no, and Fiora is absolutely a scaling sort of champion. Once she hits those item spikes, she can be quite the menace to deal with. Meanwhile, Gragas coming in, stuns them up with the body slam, and that's going to be Jihan Killer going down. And with the Braum passive ticking away, Rain able to get the double kill. Good guy, Vans.
Well done, Rain. He is all over the store with this kick up at the moment. He is absolutely phenomenal. I think
that doesn't swing the bot lane in their favor. I don't know what will.
Well, just from that right there, he is now at 1,200 gold advantage. Like, Draven getting these early game kills, as well as accumulating like a cash-in amount from his passive. He's just going to get more lethal. And, since he's essentially going to get himself a BF sword pre-5 minutes, this is going to look even more disastrous for Kai'Sa at the moment. And I don't know what Killer's going to plan, to do at the moment. Like, that was really unfortunate that Gragas came in and just completely turned the tides.
Yeah, and it almost begs the question, who's going to be able to deal with the Draven threat? Is it going to be the Shaco that pops in and tries to burst him before he can actually even do anything? Or is it going to be the Cassiopeia who's able to lock them down and just whittle them down with a great amount of poison damage? Or maybe Framer will actually win this matchup, and then he'll be the viable threat.
Yeah, I feel like unfortunately we do come into another pause very quickly. I do agree. Like, Shaco does have the ability to just come in through the back line and just do a lot of burst damage. he has that Dark Harvest, so it really comes down to whether the Dark Harvest is going to be active on his kit or whether it's going to be on cooldown. If it's active, it's going to be problematic. But Kai'Sa's Stone Gaze, I'm pretty sure it's Petrifying Gaze. If that goes off and Draven is looking right at her, that could be just as problematic. Like Draven could be in such a very worrisome situation of distress. But I have to say, there is a little bit of reassurance that they have the Braum pick. Like, Vans is planning to be a very defensive frontline base champion, especially to defend his ADC, since it looks like they're going to be working around Rain in this early part of the game.
Does Braum's Unbreakable block Cassiopeia's ult?
Yes, it's considered like a projectile animation-based ability. It's not an on-target based ability like Kael's Kael's Q as well as Malzahar's kit. Like, it doesn't require a delayed animation time. It just, Cassiopeia does have an animation moment where it actually shows in the direction and like it sort of like throws out. So even if she does use it and his breakable is up, Draven will be okay.
All right, that's very interesting to know. So that information at hand, I'd assume that they would know this information as well. Vans would be able to propel himself into a position where he can block for him. But meanwhile, Ashish, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, is on top of Rain, and he's going to do that burst damage that we talked about before, and he's going to be able to take him down. Meanwhile, Ewan comes in with the body slam and is able to finish off Aishi. I'm just going to say Aishi. It looks like how it is.
I'm just inclined to call him Shaco at this moment. Like, if he's going to have he's going to have a name that's just pretty much going to make my tongue disabled, I'm just going to call him by the champion they're playing.
If you're going to go into semi-professional play, please have a pronounceable name.
I think that's why in the pro circuit they have very simple names like, Rain Over.
Swiffer, that's a good one.
Yes, that's another one. And you've got like Spooks, King, Shurnfire, stuff like that. Wow, my brain drew blanks for a second there.
That may have set Rain back a little bit, but I don't think it would set him back a bit too much, as he still has quite a significant advantage, I'd feel, over Juhan Killer, who didn't even really get much from that. All he got was the assist.
Yeah, Shaco claiming that backdoor kill right there. He had the Dark Harvest stack active, so he did give him a bit of a boost. He does have that just under 400 gold advantage against Gragas, but Gragas just coming in, he's got 1 kill, 3 assists, he hasn't died yet, and the sparing moment right there where he just came in and finished off Shaco with that, the exploding barrel as he backs off from the situation, was just absolutely flawless. And Draven managed to get an assist out of that at least, so even though he died and his passive was reset, so he won't get as much gold when he gets his next kill, he did get that assist, so it's sort of like, makes up for it.
Not even getting even remotely close to getting out of that one.
No, just soon as Braum jumped in and Van just ulted right there.
This is going to straight up tower dive.
He's going in. I think this is it. He comes in.
A bit cocky, but I think Vans might get it in the end.
He's still up. They're running back and forth. Looks like he's trying to lock him down. Is he going to get him?
Oh, Vans.
One more. Hey, there we go. Vans gets the kill.
Very cheeky with that tower dive, but unfortunately Shaco might come in and clean it up with the flash forward and the Tiamat proc. He definitely will. But Fiora is going in on Framer. Might be able to
stacks. Is he going to get that fourth passive?
They're not going to be able to benefit from the heal, and Framer with the ultimate pop will be able to catch up and claim the kill for himself. Solo kill.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, Shaco and the red side of Peking Duck is going to, December, is going to go for the Infernal Drake, which will definitely propel this newfound lead that they've started to acquire.
Yeah, since they managed to take down Braum in the early part and Kai'Sa and Zilean did die in that mix, it sort of really put them, they did get that, those kills, and they are ahead by at least 600 gold. I do have to stress that was a little bit of an unfortunate turnaround, how Shaco and Zilean just made it straight to the Dragon Pit, and then you've got Cassiopeia coming behind.
We've got a teleport coming in from Frame towards the bottom lane, but Yumi is just running at them with the Predator. Mog going way too far forward without his ultimate that he used on Juhan to save their life, or more or less prevent them from dying. And Rain is just propelling himself ever forward.
He's already 2,000 gold ahead of Kaiser. This is looking even more disastrous for game number 1. I've watched Rain play over my time span of playing League of Legends, and I must say, he is a very formidable ADC. Like, I feel like he's very close to being able to come, to coming up against like some of the really good Pro League based ADCs.
And I can definitely tell that. And of course, December will need a lot more Infernal Drakes to be able to burst him down with the assist of Vans, which I'm going to assume he's going to go straight towards it, like a Knight's Vow or something, to mitigate any incoming burst that might happen towards Rain.
I hope he does get something like that as well. Like, that just really helps him, be able to stay, get to Draven a lot quicker than normal, if he's in a tight spot, just like right now.
Oh, they're going in for the tower dive again. Uni's here as well. He's going to flash body slam right into them. Exploding cast is not going to detonate on top, but he flashes out, and it doesn't matter because Rain is right on top of it. And
so
you know what?
Concussive blows is so powerful right now, especially with a team like that. Like, Gragas came in with the flash, helped him, keep the fight going for a little bit longer, even though it was on the turret. And then Brahm's ability to just continuously stack his passives right on top of him. And, securing an easy kill on the Kaiser. He tried to get away last second. It's just amazing how powerful it can be if used in the right hands.
And we do have Shaco picking up Rift Herald for Team December. Hopefully they're going to be able to use that and acquire some form of reprimands to shorten the gold gap. But I'm not sure if you noticed that. I was a little bit confused when I saw the redemption coming in. I was like, wait, no one has redemption just yet, but it was the Zoe. I was able to pick it up from one of the minions and just rolled on down to the bot lane and popped it down.
It's very subtle how misconstrued people, perceive that someone, I see the redemption already being popped. Does that mean someone already has it? And then you look on the list, no one has it. And the one thing that you keep forgetting to counter in is that, Zoe has the ability, her W essentially allows her to just pick up actives from either items or spells.
Yeah, it's not just spells, and that can actually catch people off guard quite a lot, like Locket of the Iron Solari or hang on, I can think of another one. Give me a moment.
I will give you that moment. As so far we have a trade between the bottom and the top lane. Like, we've got Draven and Braum over in top now, trading off with Fiora. Fiora's going bottom. They've already claimed their first turret. So it looks like they're doing just the typical bottom-top switch. And
Blade of the Rune King, that's what I was thinking.
Gold advantage. What was that?
Blade of the Rune King, that's what I was thinking. But we're going to have a tower dive coming in on Framer, who has ultimate pop, so he's not going to go down too easily. Ewan taking a lot of damage from the tower. Meanwhile, December is trying to rotate around to catch them out, but it's only going to be Ewan that they're going to catch out. He dashes forward, and then the block coming in to try and block any sort of projectiles coming in. Rain is doing a lot of damage, but he's also taking a lot. He's not going to be able to survive it, and that's actually a very favorable trade going towards December there.
Not without taking down Zillion in that mix, and it's very sly to see that they bought the Herald. December took the Herald, flashed it bottom lane, and Haya was not able to actually try and kill it before it took down the turret. Like, things were just getting worse and worse by the second for them at the moment. Like, it's just a trade back and forth, and even though Draven and Braum traded with Fiora going topside, I feel like that was a bit of an unfortunate move. Like, they lost their top turret right there. There was a lot of action happening topside. Like, Cassiopeia went up there and helped claim that easy turret.
Yeah, and another thing to notice is Rain did not, and Vans did not use Flash in that fight that happened up there, which means Rain ran up into that top push to try and finish off Framer and ended up paying for it with his life when he could have easily just ran away with Vans as well.
Oh, Rain's probably just very daring. Like, look at him. He's 7-2-3. I myself would have such a good ego boost to think that I could be able to get a couple kills in that fight.
Yeah, of course. He thinks he can do a lot of damage, and he can do a lot of damage, but he also doesn't have the survivability to not go without taking a bit of damage on his own.
I have to point out, I looked at the minimap, and I'm seeing a lot of red wards over in the red side of the jungle. This is just amazing how effective their warding is at the moment.
Very nice use of the ultimate on Kaiser to get out, rocking it on the van, so it comes out on the opposite side able to run further into the base. Very nicely done. They're going to likely try and push this turret, top turret as hard as they can, try and keep the gold advantage going.
It looks like they are trying to do something like that at the moment. Like, Fiora is having a nice trade-off against Aatrox at the moment. Aatrox using his Q to try and keep her at a distance. But casting her ulti to get out of the sticky situation was very powerful. And I feel like it wasn't much helping. Yeah, I saw that as well. Just the Gragas ulti right onto Mog, trying to get a sneaky kill.
Delay the recall.
Hey, anything can happen. Like, that split 3 seconds that you managed to delay from and being able to back, it can make a huge difference. Like, it can make a turret, for example.
Oh, absolutely. And by delaying Mog the recall and the time to get back to his lane, or to wherever he's going to be, likely next to Yuhan so he can ult, that's denying that very ult, which could save the team fight.
Very easy solo dragon from Cassiopeia, and Zoe taking the mid lane to try and seize the advantage.
Yeah, opening up the map quite a bit, and there's a bit of a scuffle happening in the top side jungle, but likely nothing much going to come of it, as Team Peking Duck is going to be forced out, as Framer is seen in the mid lane. They would be easily flanked if they tried to continue.
Aside from Draven being incredibly fed at this point, he's at 8,800 gold compared to 4,800. The rest of the team are not looking as strongly as he is at the moment, and I fear that even though Draven has been, is the focus of their team, like Gragas has been very present bottom lane when they were taking the bottom turret, as well as top lane in that unfortunate team fight where he did go down, but not without taking out Mog. Peking Duck Peking Duck could be in a bit of a problematic moment right here. Like, things could be a little bit disastrous if they're going for a team fight.
They absolutely could be, and it's that age-old story of heal for the AD carry. Just keep the Draven alive, keep him in a position where he can just keep throwing axes, keep dealing damage, because he's going to deal a lot of damage. All he needs is a bit of breathing room, really, from the Shaco, from the Aatrox, and possibly even from the Kai'Sa once they hit those power spikes.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because like when it gets to the mid or late game, when they've accumulated those 2 items, or at least 2 items, like Aatrox with at least 2 items, Shaco he's already completed the the Duskblade. You've got Cassiopeia, who's already completed 2 items, building that Archangel Staff to its full component, as well as, Kai'Sa being able to ult into the backline if she tags someone very close to him. He's not going to have much breathing room to be able to do much.
Yeah, and we can see that him and Vans are still just duo split pushing, as it were, in that top lane, just trying to keep that farm lead over Jihan Killer and trying to get those item spikes as much as possible. Just trying to stay ahead in items so they can always outdamage the other carries.
Yeah, speaking of CS farm, just look at the farm between both teams. Like, we've got Cassiopeia at the highest, followed by Zoe, and not far behind and very close. I guess you could say third and fourth. We've got like Aatrox battling it out with Fiora, and Draven is just on top of them at the moment.
Yeah, and Van's getting caught out pretty badly here. The Unbreakable will help try and secure his escape, but the poison is sticking. I think he'll only just barely get out. Uni's going to have to try and buffer for him. While Jihan killing his way. They're going to ulti in, almost killing Vans with that Q proc. But Ashish is going to flash in, and he's going to finish off Vans. I don't think they're going to try and follow up with any more. No, they're going to keep on going. The clone's going to get taken out by Rain. And that will be it.
Even though Aatrox teleported topside, and they did eventually manage to kill Vance, like I thought he was going to get out alive in that, but just the jump over the Baron pit, as well as the follow up in the shadow, just it's funny how Braum did end up dying. Like, he was really on point there. Like, his Unbreakable was almost, protecting his team entirely. Like, he was taking almost no damage in that fight. Between the Unbreakable
damage coming out from Rain just absolutely deletes Jihan Killer. And I was about to say that December used a lot of things to try and secure that kill onto Vans. And I'm not sure if it's going to be worth it, as we can see that they just applied a lot of pressure to that mid lane turret and dealt quite a fair amount of damage. And they're going to have to recall now, as Baron is coming up in about 10 seconds. Dragon's going to be a minute and a half behind that. Would not be surprised if they try and go for some sort of early Baron play, with Draven being as far ahead as he is.
Absolutely, but we do need to make. I do need to make this point. Fiora was absent throughout that entire team fight, so I feel like now Peking Duck are going to have a very fun time in a team fight. If she gets her ulti off, that's a lot of healing for his entire team. Because seeing how synergized they are, Peking Duck, everyone from Peking Duck will probably just sit in that entire healing circle and just do as much as they can.
Hold on, they're going straight for the Baron.
This is interesting news. They're completely backdoing it. They're sneaky little buggers.
Yeah, they've been found out, and they're going to have to try to do this as quickly as possible. They're taking a lot of damage. Ooh, the pinpoint sleep onto Juhan is going to fuck the Zillion ultimate, but they're all diving in on top of them now.
Oh, Gragas managed to get stunned. That's an easy double kill right there.
Yeah, and although they did secure the Baron, they've now lost both their mid lane and their Zillion, which is going to allow them to push the mid lane and at least secure the inner turret.
It's only gonna. That was just amazing. Like just that sly, explosive seed over into the Baron pit to try and sneak the Baron. Not without Vance being able to catch him off guard and take down two of their major players right there. So you've got Zillion popped his ulti, Cassiopeia popped her petrifying gaze, but Braum managed to defend most of it. Like he managed to negate it against Draven. The only people that managed to get petrified was Braum and Gragas, and to be honest, that's not really effective. Since they didn't really get a kill in that fight.
Yeah, and Frog Arms showing that he's ready for the potential Zoe change coming in the next patch, which will remove her Sleepy Bubble Trouble's AoE effect and make it just a pinpoint sleep effect.
I feel like they're nerfing her too much. They're picking on her a little too hard. And at first they did that with her Battlestar. Now they're doing it with her Sleepy Trouble Bubble. What is this?
They are going to be able to pick up the Oceanic, the second Oceanic, so they'll definitely have a lot of regen to duke it out if they go for the more shortened skirmishes, which I think is what they want to go. They want to jump in, burst someone, jump out, and then regen everything that they can.
It still takes a little bit of time, like that's out of combat, extra healing. Oh, a bit of action down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, higher than most is going to be able to get away by using Flash. However, it appears the rest of the team from Peking Duck is just going to try and hold that mid lane push and keep the advantage that they've got there, while a sizable wave is currently summing up in that top lane. You can see Framer wants to go ahead and higher than most, overextending way too much. The W is not going to be able to save them in time. Jungie taking a bit of tower hits. But meanwhile, Peking, they just want to go all the way and push into this mid lane turret. They know that Shaco and Cassiopeia are down in the bot lane, and I think they're going to be able to get the turret just barely.
Oh, the Unbreakable does take a lot of damage, but he does go down eventually. Not without taking the turret. Aatrox ulti
run on their heels now. Rain is going to go down to Juhan Killer, and they've got Baroned up minions pushing on their Nexus turrets. This may very well be the game.
Is this the game-changing moment? Just that split-second game-changing moment just turns into a complete game right there for the series.
Yeah, Juhan does go down to Frog Arms, but Framer is going to be able to come in and finish them off. Higher than most is up. Van's coming in to support, but it's not going to be enough. They're going to be able to finish off the Nexus, and that's going to be the game one going to Team December.
Well done, December. That was a very powerful turnaround. I was expecting Peking Duck to be able to actually push it all the way, since there was a lot of focus towards the bottom half, but I completely forgot about the Baron buff.
Yeah, a bit of misinterpretation on the side of Peking Duck. They completely underestimated the push that they could have had going, and higher than most, kind of giving them that opportunity by overextending again into that bot lane.
And with game number one out of the way, we're going to go to a quick little toilet break as we get ourselves set up for game number two between these two magnificent teams from Monash University. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to game number 2. I am Reinhardt, and we are getting ourselves underway with the second round of champion bans. Last game, just to recap, Peking Duck were ahead by quite a lot. A special mention to Rain for being able to get himself so far ahead so quickly. But in the end, it just worked in favor of December as they took a Baron buff. They managed to keep Peking Duck from being able to just completely push through the mid lane as a four-man team, while December had 3 people in the bottom lane. With the Baron buff active, they took down Higher Than Most, who was playing his Fiora, and just completely just took the turrets, for the backdoor win right there. I am joined once again by, I guess I'll call you World. I feel like that's the easiest way I'll be able to refer to you, really, man.
Just call me Edge, that's fine.
Edge it is, then.
That's what everyone else calls me. But yeah, no, it's great to be here yet again for game 2, and I have to hand it to Team December. That Baron play, that sneaky Baron play, actually ended up winning the game for them.
I thought it was actually going to put them a little bit behind, seeing as they managed to take down both Cassiopeia and Zillion in that mix. You know, they took the Baron buff, but not without losing 2 members of their team.
Yeah, but it ended up working for them. They had the Baron buff for when they started pushing in that bot lane, when they caught out Higher Than Most, which was rather unfortunate for the side of Peking Duck. And as we can see now that we're in the ban phase, understandably a Shaco ban, as well as followed up by an Aatrox ban coming out for the side on the red side.
And it looks like Mog doesn't want to play as Zillion for game number 2, but also has him banned out. And now it just makes me curious as to what they have planned in their kit for game number 2.
Well, we can already see the Rakan pick coming in, so that's definitely going to be the support, which is then followed by the Thresh, likely support as well.
I would be very curious as to what he would be if he wasn't the support of the team.
Oh, I've seen some things. Don't question it. But we've also got the and of course it's going to be the Gragas jungle. It wouldn't be a game of League of Legends in the current season without Gragas in the jungle.
No, but in the last game, he was very effective making himself known in the lane phases. Like, he managed to help Rain and Van secure the first turret, and then he went topside to try and help secure that second turret. But, with the unfortunate turnaround of Cassiopeia,
that's a Rek'Sai.
It looks like we're going to have a very interesting game number 2 here. We have a very unconventional and unseen champion. Like, I haven't seen a Rek'Sai in a very long time.
Yeah, Rek'Sai just sort of fell off the board. They were very useful for a time when their ultimate worked the way it used to, where you could sort of instantly teleport to one of your tunnels.
I think by reshaping that to tagged an enemy, he can just ult burrow underground and ulti on top of him. Sounds a little bit more fair for the enemy team instead of having 2 teleports at any given time.
Oh, of course, and it's going to be complemented by the Yasuo. So that's 2 knockups aside from his own kit for the Yasuo, which will work very nicely for him.
Since you said that, I feel like they're going to try and work around Yasuo in number 2. Like, they've got 2 forms of knockups already, plus Yasuo's kit on its own. I'm curious to see what else they might have in there, what they might pick for the, for the team comp.
I'm kind of curious to see what AD carry they might pick up, even AD carry at all. We've seen Xayah and Kai'Sa getting banned away, and as well as Lucian getting picked up by Peking Duck. Born is going to be the final ban going through, which was preceded by Darius on their side, wanting to secure I want to say a rather slow top lane.
Well, 3 out of 5 of their bans were focused on top lane based champions. You've got Ornn, Darius, as well as Gangplank. Aurelion Sol banned out once more. It looks like they don't really want to go up against an Aurelion Sol in the current meta.
Now, this very well could be a Swain bot lane.
I feel like it could be. I mean, I did mention this earlier in the first champions that throughout the changes over time, Swain did end up becoming more of an ADC based champion, since his kit is boosted to a mid to late game. But if you can get him online early with the additional support playing with him, it could be very beneficial for his team.
Absolutely, and it looks like that is going to be the case with Cho'Gath. I'd assume getting swapped around into that top side against the Poppy. That's a relative even matchup. Hold on a second. It's not going to be a Poppy in the top lane. It's going to be a Nah. The Poppy is going to be a support. Oh, wait, no.
No, she's going to be the jungler. I was very curious. I'm thinking, wait, there's a Thresh that was the first pick before. I mean, both sides picked the support.
It's Gragas mid.
A Gragas mid lane with a Poppy.
Poppy jungle.
This could be a troll. This could be a slight little troll.
No, I've seen wrong, Poppy jungle working. It definitely has its moments, but we'll see if this is going to be one of them.
I wasn't really more or less talking about the Poppy jungle. I was focusing on the fact that we've got Lucian top, Thresh as the ADC, and Nah as the support. Like, you don't really see something like that at all, and this could be an all-time first base situation that we could be seeing something like this. Like, if this works out, this could become a new meta.
Yeah, I'm confused. Higher than most, Lucian top lane with flash heal.
It feels like it's the common thing. Like, you've got higher than most taking on the ADC role, and they're only just doing it psych out December at the moment. But I feel like we need to get into game before we can, confirm what we're seeing at the moment. Like, so far, we're going by like a confirmation bias. Like, Lucian's picked at the top. We assume he's going to be top lane, and then Nah as a support, since he is in the support-based role at the moment.
Was there a swap that we weren't informed of, or?
I'm not sure. I feel like this is just more or less like a. This could be just to psych out December. Like, it could work. If this does work, it's really effective.
I mean, yeah.
The point of the game is to try and kill the objectives and take the enemy nexus, but there's also the secondary objective of sucking out your enemy team, so that way they're thrown off course and they don't really see what you're actually trying to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is psychological warfare is a viable strategy, whereas you more or less demoralize your opponent enough that they just can't play effectively. And what's more demoralizing than getting one hit by a Thresh ADC?
Oh, that would be very problematic. Thresh has been known, if he plays in the ADC role, he is essentially just all basic attack. None of his kit is based around hurting people. They are more CC based, like I believe, is it his death sentence? His Q, the hook?
Yes,
is it called death
correct.
sentence?
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, his death sentence does a bit of damage, but the main point behind it is to stun the enemy. Like, he catches them off guard. They are locked out for at least a second. He can close the gap in on them and then follow up with a flay to knock them backwards and slow them down. And then he could finish it off with his ulti, which slows him down even more, unless they flash through it, or if they're playing an Israel or a champion where they have their own form of flash, they could be able to get themselves out of a sticky situation. But seeing how Rain is very effective as an ADC, if this is their lineup, they're going to have Thresh as the ADC, Nah as the support. I'm very curious to see how Rain's going to play this out, because I've never seen a Thresh ADC in a very high ranking game. Like, I've only really seen it in those troll games, that streamers like to do just to get the views, essentially. But for a pro game, this is going to be new.
Yeah, and as I touched on before, the Yasuo synergy coming out from Team December, we've now also got the Cho'Gath knockup synergy coming in there. So definitely plenty of engaged potential for the Yasuo via his ultimate.
I feel like I just want to say that every single member on that team has a form of knockup that could work, or an airborne-based ability.
Swain?
That allows him to actually enable his ulti. Yeah, Swain with his E, the grab. I don't know the name of it very well. I don't know Swain's new ability names at all, besides his demonic possession. That's the only ability I know well.
I don't believe Swain's E knocks people up. I believe he displaces them slightly. I'm
It
unsure.
does work with his ulti though. I have seen it work.
Alright.
I have played games as Yasuo with a Swain on my team, and when he grabs them and pulls them backwards towards him, they are disposition, as you say, but they are also technically airborne for us for that split second. So you'd want to spam that R button, you know, when he gets a lockdown on somebody and pulls them back into him.
Alright, you gotta be quick on the draw. I gotcha. And it's a good thing he's using the high noon skin.
I
We
was
are going
about
have
to say, just my face is just like, oh, he punted so hard just then.
We are going to have to quickly sync up, make sure we're all on the same page. Please bear with us while we do.
This is the part of the casting that I hate the most, just having to sync up always.
Alright, and
20.
once we're all synced up, we should be good to hit.
And we are live with game number 3. I let Adge take over this entire situation right now. What have we got here to start us off?
Well, by the looks of it, we've got a 5-man rotating towards that tri-brush, looking to potentially catch someone out on the bottom half of the map. They do... Swain has opted for the E start, so I'm likely going to see some form of invade coming in here, but they're going to get spotted out very early on by the Thresh. They're going to have to flash forward if they wanted to land that, but they're going to keep on pushing forward. They don't need to back away just yet. Cho'Gath, I believe, opted for nothing just yet.
They've taken down 2 wards right there. Like Yasuo puts in a ward at the blue buff, as well as Rakan puts one down there too, and they didn't exactly take out Rakan's ward, so it looks like they're trying to get a bit of an early advantage going up against Uini.
And in return, we do have the Ghost Poro coming out from, I believe, Uni on the blue sides of jungle. Blue.
Yeah, December's on the left-hand side this game. It's just to help jog that memory a little bit. They've got that Ghost Poro down from Peking Duck. Like Peking Duck have got, I guess you could say, that slight vision advantage at the moment, but you know, they don't know where Poppy is. You can only assume that she's over at the red buff at the moment. You know, if I'm on December's side, I would be inclined to know as well that she started red because the blue buff is still up.
So we do in fact have what looks to be some form of swap coming in, with Higher Than Most playing as the ADC and Rain acting as the support, whereas Vans is now effectively in the top lane.
This match is
it's
completely thrown us off course, to be honest. Like, we're seeing a difference in everything.
Yeah, and of course, speaking in those matchups, we have Juha Killer in the mid lane and Chungi in the bottom lane as Yasuo. Things are just all over the place for this game.
I feel like both teams were trying to psych each other out, and they just weren't expecting it so easily.
They haven't psyched each other out, they've just psyched us out.
Yeah, it's just, my tongue is just absolutely just about to jump out of my mouth and just go on vacation. Just be like, nah, I'm so done with this, I'm going on vacation.
Oh, well, as I gave evidence to before, it's going to be rather slow in that top lane. Cho'Gath with the regen is going to be able to out-sustain the Nars poke and advance, so it's likely just going to be a massive farm fest happening up there, with some slight trades happening down in the spot lane. Meanwhile, we've got Rek'Sai trying to start something in the mid lane, was unsuccessful, and Sprogarms was able to get out of that.
Oh, there we go. There's that grab. The W to the compound, getting that vision and damage boost. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Cho'Gath is already forced defensively. He's pushed underneath his own turret. Nars really trying to make effective of that range.
He absolutely is, and we do have a bit of a scuffle happening between the jungles and the tri-brush, which means Chungi can get on top of Higher Than Most here. Ignite was burned, and Mog, trying to follow up, is going to have to back away. Now that Uni's there.
Oh, if Rain managed to get that death sentence onto Rek'Sai, it lights it up.
Oh, but the flay knocking him forward. Chungi forced the flash, and Mog going to E towards him.
My screen was jumping all over the place in that fight. I was focused on Rakan, and I just saw him dash, 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 and I'm just like, where is this game? I feel like I'm about to change time zones or something.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, and Framer taking a lot of damage from Vans. Like, we're gonna have to back away now and then teleport back to try and knock them down.
Oh, they go back, and the first blow goes there!
Rek'Sai goes down to Uni, and Higher Than Most is trying to land some poke on the outskirts, but they don't have the health to be able to effectively tower dive at the moment, so they're just gonna have to back away now while Chungi picks off the scraps.
It's a good thing that Chungi doesn't have his ults yet. Otherwise, this would have been disastrous.
Death Sentence, maybe it's gonna land. Doesn't actually have the mana for Death Sentence. Meanwhile, Frog Arms goes down to Juhan Killer in the mid lane. Things are just happening all over the place.
I feel like I'm about to go cross-eyed.
I feel like Uni was a bit too ambitious with that. Rain did not have the mana for a Death Sentence or even a Flash Flay at that point. So
no, but getting that first kill, and I just look at the scoreboard, only Poppy managed to claim that kill on Rek'Sai in that first bit right there, so essentially it's only working in favor of Poppy in that match right there, in that matchup, whereas both teams, or should I say, both bottom lane compositions are still neck and neck. There is no major difference besides CS at the moment.
Yeah, and we could actually see that taking effect, as we could see Uni was the one who wanted to re-engage with that fight, tried to land the stun onto Chungi, but was unsuccessful. And of course, Rain did not have the mana to back them up with a Flay or a Death Sentence, which would have secured the kill otherwise.
I feel for Cho'Gath at the moment. Like, Vance is really pressuring him. He's trying to run around the minions to throw his boomerang out and try and get the stacks going on him. But Cho'Gath is just doing so well to hide behind those minions, even though he might be in the middle of a fight. He knows he'll be able to still do well if he's caught in the middle of it.
Oh yeah, and of course he needs to be playing extra careful with Uni up there in that half of the jungle. I don't think he's aware that Uni is there, but he can definitely have the assumption of it due to the lack of presence on top of where Rek'Sai is. And here he comes for the tower dive. Easy kill, easy secure. And Frog Arms getting chased down by Juhan Killer is going to go down to him with the assist going to the Rek'Sai. But
Killer
that's going to be a hard push
line
for that top lane turret.
Yeah, Killer is coming online very early, and with Poppy coming in to help claim an easy kill for Cho'Gath under the turret, I'm not sure how that's going to work, for his team at the moment.
It's definitely going to get the Poppy ahead, but Poppy is more or less a tanky crowd control champion, not so much a damage dealer.
She's still very good for an engage nonetheless. Like, her ulti, if she uses it within close range, she's not going to knock them out of the match. She's going to knock them just right on top of herself. And that could be very beneficial for the rest of his team if they play on top of it.
Oh, absolutely. And we do have an Ocean Drake being the first dragon up. So not a dragon that either team would really want to contest for early on, as the earlier dragons that you would want to contest for are the ones that actually offer some pushing potential, whether it be Infernal or Mountain.
I like how Yasuo is being very powerful in the ADC role at the moment. Just Chungi and Mog are working really well together. They are correlating almost in complete synergy to keep him ahead. He has those completed Berserker Greaves. He's got that added lifesteal to start off with that Doran's Blade. He's also ahead in CS, only by a little bit. Then they were able to roam around and claim a bit of vision for themselves. So I'm really interested to see how Chungi's going to go.
Yeah, and I feel once they hit that level 6 mark, they're going to be able to deal a lot of damage, but they don't even need to hit the level 6 marks, apparently, because Rain is going dangerously low. Meanwhile, Rek'Sai is there, going to try and land the Q knockup. Does flash forward to get the knockup going. He's getting a lot of damage from the tower, though. Higher Than Most is going to be able to kill him. The Ignite actually gets the kill onto him during the Rek'Sai ultimate. And that's going to be a trade under the tower in the bottom.
What a sneaky Ignite right there. Rek'Sai burrows under the ground, but dies to the Ignite the minute the champion is known on the map again. And it was just like a revenge, a retribution right there. You kill me, I kill you.
Yeah, and we've got a flash engage ultimate coming out from Mog, taking a lot of damage from the tower. Chungi wants to try and secure the kill, but he's not going to be able to because Uni was in the neighborhood and decided to pop on by, see how Higher Than Most was doing. Apparently very fine.
I love how Uni's just done so well to engage under a turret time. And he comes right in, he just pops the Predator, and it's just like straight on top of it.
And as we can see in that top lane, it is becoming quite the farm fest. Unfortunately, Framer not able to get as much as Vans due to the outrange poke coming from the Na while in mini form.
This is what I mean by, Na's just having such a comfortable time with Framer. Framer is forced under the turret. His passive is the only thing that's probably keeping him in lane and preventing him from having to base quite often, because Na is really going whole ham on. He's making sure he is leaving Cho'Gath with nothing to eat.
Yeah, Framer actually dealing a fair amount of damage to Vans. Vans is going to be able to back out in time though before Aishi can do any real damage, as well as the Mega form coming up. Definitely not something that you want to tower dive.
Not at this rate, no. Like, he doesn't have enough tanky stats to be able to take on a Na, and Na was very close to hitting his Mega form, so it could have been more disastrous. He's also got that wall, he's also got that ulti of his up as well, so he was in the perfect position to be able to just completely just Na anybody into the wall.
You do have Mog potentially getting caught out here. He's going to back away though. GC the stun did not connect, so it's not worth following up in time, as they believe Rek'Sai could be in the neighborhood as well as Chungi.
It's a very interesting trade-off in the bottom lane. Like, they get so far ahead and then they just retreat just as far back, and Higher Than Most is doing well to keep himself alive. Oh, I just look in the top lane. Vayne almost goes down the Framer. The Mega Nara is popped. Gets the stun.
Yeah, it's going to be enough though. That's going to be an easy solo kill. Mog though going down to the culling, coming up from Higher Than Most, but the knockup just within tower range might be enough. No, it's not going to be. Uni with Predator Pop wants to actually fight this.
Oh, this is just absolutely funny. If anybody has seen Robin Hood Men in Types, I just want to point out, every time I see Poppy come into the comes into the fray, pops at Predator, it's just like da 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 da, just comes in with the reinforcing right there.
I'm afraid that might be a bit of a dated reference to some of the people, but there's going to be a quick getaway with the use of the lantern towards Uni coming out from Rain, making sure they can get out of that without any sort of casualties that are unnecessary.
Very close, neck and neck. No turrets taken at this point. Last time it was just under 10 minutes they managed to claim their first turret, but game number 2, just changing everybody around. Higher going from top to ADC. It's like a 4-way swap almost, a 3-way swap almost. It's becoming more passive at the moment.
Yeah, and notice how Team December, even though they realized all of those members from Peking Duck were going to back towards that blue buff side on the red side, they could have gone for that Ocean Drake just straight up, but they didn't want to because Ocean Drake is just not worth taking at this point.
No, not unless you've already claimed your first turret and you've aced the enemy team entirely. Like, that feels like it's just the bonus objective that you would want to get if there was nothing else to go for.
Yeah, more or less the more viable reason as to why you would go for Ocean Drake is to, by chance, roll into an Infernal Drake later on.
If only we could actually see what type of dragon will be coming up after it. That would just promote people's incentive to want to actually take down the dragon sooner.
I could see that as being a viable way of making people appreciate the dragon objective a bit more.
That is definitely for certain. It's probably the least useful dragon in terms of passive buffs, but if they did add in the added, list of what to expect in this game, it would be more interesting.
Yeah, we're going to have Uni rotating towards their bottom half of the jungle. Rek'Sai is also within that area. They're going to get spotted out by a ward though, so they know that pressure is getting added there on the side of Peking Duck.
Oh, the charming ulti coming from Mog. Death Sentence!
Death Sentence connects, and they're going to go in and follow it up. Mog forced to dash, double dash out, but Chungi is left alone and will die. Double Ignite proc down onto both of those kills. Jihan Kill is left alone. He's not going to be able to deal enough damage or regenerate enough health to finish him off. Death Sentence goes wide, and that's going to be Jihan Killer going down.
And this is exactly what I was talking about before. That, my prediction just came to fruition. They managed to completely take down 3 members of December, and they just claimed the turrets since they were right nearby. And from that, it looks like we've got Uni heading in towards his enemy's jungle. So you know, AC is going to have a little bit of a problem trying to continue farming. Rain is beginning to pressure a little bit, wants to put him in a bit of an uncomfortable position, and Haya is just pushing the wave right on top of the turret.
Yeah, we're going to potentially have a tower dive coming in here. Frogarms did want to come up, but the teleport coming in from Juhan Killer will put a stop to that before it even starts. Meanwhile, we have Chungi and Mog still trying to keep farming in that bot lane, reach those item power spikes. As right now, Azeel and Berserker Groups is just not going to cut it.
No, definitely not. But as soon as I saw that teleport, I thought something magical was going to happen there, but I was denied, as you can see.
And unfortunately, it is going to be a second Ocean Drake coming up.
This game's
within the Dragon Pit. But Cho'Gath, if anyone was going to benefit from this, from that in this game, it would definitely be the Cho'Gath, I would imagine. So it is quite unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate, and what's just as unfortunate at the moment is Cho'Gath or Framer is forced on his turret once again, and look at the health percentage of that turret. That is looking around 20% and declining fast. Nah is just making things worse and worse for Cho'Gath. That gold accumulation is increasing.
But of course, Cho'Gath is an incredible scaling champion once he gets his items, being Gargoyle Stone Plate, and I believe it is... what's the item that increases your movement speed that he's building into right now?
That Righteous Glory.
Righteous Glory, there we go. Once he completes those two items, it's pretty much just a, are you level 16? Yes, then you're free to run at people and gobble them up whole, essentially.
Just as much as Makar was about to try and charge in right there and get denied last second, the Flash was just completely denied a tornado.
The Flash gets denied by the knock-up tornado, and Charm coming through is going to knock higher than most under the tower, going to take a lot of damage, especially with the Ignite. Knock-up does not connect again. Chungri, did I call him Chungri? Chungi is not going to get able to land the Q to keep on the pressure. But that was a rather unsuccessful escapade happening from the side of
Congratulations, your name has been promoted to Chungri. Chungri is unfortunately not able to make it tonight, but we'll satisfy with a Chungi, as the first turret is about to go down to a Peking Duck at the moment. So this is finally the first turret goes down, and that is a lot of gold that I think Lucian managed to claim right there. He didn't get it, but I saw the gold accumulation just pop up right there, and it's quite effective since Lucian's 303.
We do have them hiding out in this bush, wanting to catch Hung. At most, is going to be able to get himself a kill instead of getting killed because of another successful tower dive coming in from Peking Duck. And Rain with the death sentence connecting is going to be able to finish off Chungi, and they're just going to keep on pushing despite Rek'Sai able to acquire the Rift Herald.
Even though Rek'Sai managed to claim the Rift Herald, they lost the objective bonus of taking the first turret. The second tier turret in the bottom lane has just been taken once again. Uni is really focusing on the bottom team. He's really trying to help them out. And to sum it up, Nah is trying to sneak in the first turret in the top lane right there. Yeah, no. If December wants any chance of winning this, they're going to have to do a lot better at defending their objectives, because they are going to. And a good trio coming in, a good trio attack coming in on top of Frogarms there, able to lock him down enough to secure the kill, which is going to be a bit of a small consolation prize. Start of December there. Gragas is really not having the best time at the moment. He's died 3 times now, within the 18-minute span of the game. So that's, if we average it out, that's 1 kill every 6 minutes, and Swain has been a part of it nearly every time. And it's just unfortunate how he's always caught out, and it's always either to just Swain getting with his abilities, or he just gets ganked. He doesn't have any. He's got a lot of wards happening for himself, but he's not acting upon it. It's almost like he's tunnel visioning.
Yeah, and actually a fair amount of damage coming out from Juhan Killer there onto higher than most from just his Q at point blank range. However, higher than most will deal a fair amount of damage in return with the culling, mainly hitting Jihan, but it's going to be a bit of a scuffle happening here as Rain does take a lot of damage, not going to go down just yet, but the flash forward Q coming out from Swain is going to be able to finish him off. Meanwhile, another fight happening in the top lane, a battle of the Titans, as you can see. However, it's about to become one big Titan, one mini Titan now, where that mini Titan is not to be messed with.
No, he should not be messed with, especially since he gets such an advantage at the moment. He's got a completed Black Cleaver. He just claimed his first turret. They've been trading back and forth, just 1-on-1 for a majority of this matchup, or should I say, for game number 2. And it's only getting worse for himself because Nah is 40 CS up. He claimed his first turret. I know I just repeated myself, but those are key points to point out, as that's what makes the big difference between him and Cho'Gath at the moment. Cho'Gath is, slowly accumulating himself. He does take time to build, as his ulti requires at least 6 stacks for him to, completely come online. But if he does come online, it could be very effective, especially with a Righteous Glory.
And as we can see, Peking Duck rotating towards that Ocean Drake and securing it without any sort of hassle after taking that outer mid lane turret, really starting to secure their lead in terms of objectives and gold at about 5k at the moment. And that double Ocean Drake will definitely help with sustaining them in team fights.
We have a... Just to clear my throat, we have a reset happening mid. The Herald has been unleashed. It looks like December's going to go straight for the mid turret.
Yeah, they want to hard push this. They want a team fight to happen.
Oh,
They've got Cho'Gath there. They want to go in. They want to secure the turret. They're looking for something.
I hope Peking Duck don't engage. Like, they have 4 men present. Nara is split pushing the bottom lane. They've already taken the entire first wave of turrets, as well as the bottom tier 2. Nara is trying to make effective use of that and push it all the way out. Cho'Gath is coming to respond, so it looks like we're going to have another dance-off between both partners. The Baron buff is now active and, it's live, it's ready for the taking. I'm curious as to see how both teams will act upon this, because last time this happened, December decided to actually just use the explosive seed and jump over and try remain undetected. But Vans, playing as Braum in the last game, managed to actually catch on very quickly and go straight towards the pit and see whether they're going to try and do it. And it worked well for them, but overall it actually worked just as much of a disadvantage as it was as an advantage.
Yeah, we have Vans going on to Framer. Blade of the Rune King procced pretty early. Framer's going to be able to get out relatively safe with half his health. And just reset himself. Getting ever so closely to, I believe he's going to go for a Warbox next for that health regen. Meanwhile, Mog's going in with the ultimate, charming up everyone that he meets. Juhan Killer's going to be able to land the Soul-Seeing Eye and kill Rain. Meanwhile, teleports are coming in to try and fight. The teleport was cancelled by Framer as he sees Vans pushing that bot lane.
Having that teleport cancelled out last second just to defend, his current position is never exactly a fun thing. And Vance is really pressuring him on. Just look at him go down in the bottom lane. He's trying to keep the pressure on right just outside the inhibitor turret. I know he has backed off, but he's really trying to keep that pressure on, trying to make sure nothing goes past that tier 2 gravestone of a turret at the moment.
Yes, and although it was unfortunate for the misuse of the teleport, they were able to get a small, secure kill onto Rain there, which will definitely try and stable out the game a bit more than what it was beforehand. Now, they are starting to root around, really trying to secure the vision around the Baron pit on the side of Peking Duck, while also trying to get that push going in the mid lane. Meanwhile, Vans hard pushing in that bot lane with teleport not available just yet. It's actually going to come off on cooldown the same time Framers does. He can definitely take on Framer on his own. Definitely does land onto Juhan, and a fair amount of poke does come on. Meanwhile, Vans is spotted reasonably low in the jungle. Not low on health, low in position. He's going to try and keep pushing that wave, try and get Framer to commit holding in that bot lane.
So far, Peking Duck have done well to be very aggressive. Last game, it worked right up until they tried pushing for the Nexus since there was a backdoor happening bot lane, but it didn't work out for them. They got aced, and with their Baron buff still active for a majority of the members, December managed to claim their first game, taking down the Nexus. Game number 2, it looks like so far it's going in a very good timeline.
Chungi coming down and trying to help Framer take down Vans, the big behemoth. Meanwhile, Juhan is taking a lot of damage, higher than most. He's going to jump on the backline and try and deal enough damage on his own. Meanwhile, Rek'Sai is able to dash onto him with the use of the ultimate. Juhan's going to go down eventually, not without dealing a lot of damage on his own. Meanwhile, Chungi and Framer are coming in after Vans was able to run away, and they're going to just keep on following up, dealing as much damage as they can. Framer is standing in there, trying to peel for Hungry, as he's getting jumped on by the Gnar. Gragas flashes over the wall, lands the bomb, and is going to secure the kill. Meanwhile, it's just Framer and Mog. They're not going to be able to do enough damage. They're going to have to run away, but Framer's not going to have enough time to do so. It goes down to Vans. He has the ability to chase him down. Not enough to go for Baron, but enough to keep the lead that they currently had.
That was quite the team fight that we saw just then.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's amazing how it still worked in favor of Peking Duck. Like, they managed to claim a lot of kills. They reset themselves, claiming all the items they can to try and keep that distance between their counterpart. And now it looks like their eyes are set on the Baron buff.
Yeah, and they're definitely going to make their way and start moving towards it. Mog moving towards it is going to be able to spot it out with the scrying plant, and may even force them to back away from it. That will be the case, so Baron will reset itself, and they're going to look to put their efforts elsewhere, like with the Dragon coming up in 20 seconds. Which is an Infernal Dragon.
It's about time we had something interesting coming up.
Yeah,
having 2 water dragons. Yeah, having 2 ocean dragons it doesn't feel like they're really putting as much effort into this game right now. Like, they're really limited on the benefits that they can claim.
But of course, they are totally just trying to keep the lead that they've got going. But the longer that they try and keep the lead going without trying to commit anything to securing the lead.
Thresh going down and that surprising catch right there, I felt like a turtle, just my head retreated into my shell. I'm lost for words as to how quick that happened.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's because it's starting to reach that tipping point where a lot of December's team members are starting to come online with their items, their level with the levels that they've got, because a lot of them have level advantages. Like, for example, the Cho'Gath, he's become increasingly tanky, and as we all know, his ultimate is quite threatening when he is very tanky. Unfortunate that Rek'Sai was able to get caught there by the slam from the Poppy. It was the slam from the Gragas.
I feel like that was just like, a return favor for taking, you took my guy out, but guys, well, guess what? We're going to do the same and take out Cho'Gath. How do you like those marbles?
I believe that was Rek'Sai, not Cho'Gath, but it's going to be likely another pick coming in if they stick around in this mid lane. I don't think they're going to be able to hold this turret, especially with Chungi making his way to the mid lane to try and help hold it.
I have to apologize. I just couldn't see who died in that fight. I was just going by the basic color, the color scheme. Like, Cho'Gath and Rek'Sai look very similar when you're not looking directly at the champions. Like, they have a very similar color scheme.
No void discrimination here. Do you have Righteous Glory? Morg's going in. There's going to be a lot of damage coming in, a lot of AoE damage. Killer as he's just running through them in demonic form. Uni's trying to get a consolation prize by killing Chungi, but it's not going to be effective enough. As the exhaust does come... Oh, sorry, no exhaust. No. Just didn't deal enough damage. Who'd have thought Poppy doesn't deal enough damage? But they're going to be able to move on to Baron after that. A very successful team fight. The tipping point, as I mentioned, it is now.
This is getting to that point where the champion selections are beginning to actually show. You've got a lot of early game picks from Peking Duck, but in return, December have decided to go with late game picks. So they did have a bit of a rough early game, but now it's beginning to turn around with the amount of accumulation they're beginning to show.
Oh, absolutely. And once that Shogun hits level 16, he's not even level 16 yet. He is going to be an absolute monster. He's going to be able to run onto that backline and destroy anyone so he chooses. And that's going to be actually Frogarm's going down as well with the Ignite proc onto him. But Vance is able to secure that bottom lane turret, so it will be a potential threat that December will have to keep their eye on, while the rest of the team from Peking does come up, except for Frogarms, of course. The rest of December try and back with their Baron buff intact, so they can try and start pushing out their lanes and securing objectives of their own finally.
I'm curious to see how this is going to work out now. Like, this is beginning to show like game number 1. Team December claimed the Baron buff. You know, they managed to sneak it in last time. This time, they rightfully earned it. You know, they took out all of Peking Duck, and they're going to continue by taking the Baron and push the lanes. Like, they've already left those minions to die on their own. They're giving Peking Duck, you know, some ability to be able to return fire. They're getting that gold. They're getting that CS. They're getting the XP. Even though they don't have any minions at the moment, they are grouping like a pack of wolves. Like they know what they're doing. They are not going to let one person die without all of them being there to try and help defend it.
And they're just going to keep on pushing into this mid lane with Baron buff. As you can see, level 16 Cho'Gath, he is a big boy. He's going to get swung all the way back due to the Poppy ultimate. They can see Vans pushing in that bottom lane. Someone's going to have to answer them if they don't want to lose that inhibitor. So they're just going to keep on pushing. They can't be stopped. They've got a massive void monster there.
Things are getting worse by the second. They managed to take it all the way to the inhibitor. And look at the minimap. Look where Nar is. He's doing the same. He's backdooring like a little yordle.
Yeah, he's gonna be able to get the inhibitor in time before anyone can reach him, and the rest of the people
be able to get out alive.
They can to try and delay their backing. They weren't able to delay Rek'Sai though, so they are going to be able to defend their next touch at the very least. But a good pick coming out from Jihan and Pogs as he flashes into them, trying to deal as much damage as they can. Vans is going to be able to teleport back into the fight. No, it's going to get cancelled by Rek'Sai. More Jihan Gillies just keep on going, and they're just going to storm right through. Storm the gate. Rek'Sai actually able to get a solo kill onto Nar, and then Hungry Chunky is just going to keep on tower diving with the exhaust block. He is going to be able to get away though with the cleanse.
This could be game number 3.
Silver Slash, but with the Baron up minions, they're just going to keep on trying to push these towers down. Cho'Gath halfway through the ultimate will have it up soon because it's on a relatively low cooldown. They're going to be able to take one Nexus turret and then back away.
I felt like that was about to be game number 2 in the series for tonight. Just look up. That was a really powerful push. They claimed all the way up to the first Nexus turret. Nar only got to the inhibitor, and then he went in a 1v1 trade-off against Rek'Sai and did die in the mix. I don't know what happened, but as soon as Nar went from Mega to Mini, he lost a chunk of his health, and that was just the unfortunate decider of the fight. Just Rek'Sai managing to get that last little bit as he goes back into Mini form. He did try to jump away, but Rek'Sai was completely on him, like mice to a cheese.
Yeah, and now the game is starting to reach the point where Peking Duck are desperate to try and look for an opening. They need to regain the advantage that they had. But Frogarms is going to get caught out here by Mog and Chunky, and he's going to go down, making it a 4v5 even more difficult to try and hold. They might just rotate down to this Infernal Drake, second Infernal Drake, and take that even further, increasing their damage potential.
Oh, Frogarms, what are you doing? Did we get caught out quite a lot? That's the 3rd time he's been caught out in the middle of nowhere.
It is quite unfortunate, and the pick potential coming out from Juhan and Mog is really what's propelling December into the lead with those teamfight picks. And they're just going to group up in this bot lane and push against the super minions, pretty much making Van's efforts for naught.
Absolutely, and I have to point out, they have completely taken over Uni's blue jungle, and they're just going to hold onto it for as long as they can. They're going to try and claim that, the second tier turret just because they've got nothing else to do. There's no point going topside because that would be too much of a reset for them. Especially
Absolutely.
since they are hard pressured with that inhibitor going down in the bottom lane.
And they're going to be able to take this turret without any sort of problem. A good pick again coming out from Juno. As they're going to get onto Frog Arms. Oh no! There's also Uni that they get on top of. Yes, and it does land, but they're not going to be able to follow up. Juhan once again secures the E on the Frog Arms. But oh my goodness, that was a devastating ultimate coming out onto higher than most from Chungi there. As well as Flamer just gobbling up Rain.
This is just ball breaking at the moment. Just that team fight. The initial engage from Mug, flashing and ulting over top. You got Framer that continues to charge in with the Righteous Glory, and then you've got Killer who just completely ulties on top of all of them and gets a 5-man ulti in.
And with 4 members down and Super Minions pushing against the Nexus turret, they're going to be able to keep on going, and there we go, that's an ace coming out, and that's likely going to be game 2, going to December.
Not without 2 teleports into the base right there. A very magnificent. December managed to claim both games with a surprising turnaround. From in both games, they managed to claim the first one with a huge turnaround with the Baron buff, and they did it again with game number 2. Like, I thought it was going to be a close mix, but it looks like December really showed their colors this time. So well done to December for being able to take tonight's series. Peking Duck, I really loved your game. I do have to make an unfortunate mention that Frog Arms. What happened, buddy? You got caught out quite a bit. You got caught out in the mid lane, I think at least twice, and then you got caught out in the bottom lane by Yasuo and Rakan at least once. I was a little bit shocked, and it was just a very interesting matchup tonight. Like, the second game was a complete turnaround. I think my tongue's about to jump out and go on holiday now.
Yeah, an incredibly unfortunate set of circumstances coming out. They had the lead, but they just weren't able to secure it, and they weren't able to put the nail in the coffin.
No,
they had it all. They had all the measurements. They had it just right, but they didn't want to commit just yet.
But with that series done and out of the way, we thank you for tuning in tonight's series. I'm Reinhardt. I'm joined by my new friend here, Adjacent World. Adjacent World, why don't you give us a bit of why don't you conclude us off here tonight?
All right, well, yes, thank you all for coming. I believe there will be a second game coming up just in a bit. So if you're interested for a bit more League of Legends, stick around for that. Other than that, this is Adj signing you off for tonight. Have a good night.